shadows of memories where stories fade and twist, there lies a fragile heart yearning to exist. From tales of innocence to scars that won't forget, a world once wide and open, now trapped in the net. She wore a mask of wisdom to hide all the tears, built walls of silent power constructed from her fears. Oh, Altena, in the garden of your mind, you try to plant the seeds of fate, hoping to find a reason for the storms, the battles you have fought, a way to give the pain a meaning you have sought. Innocence stolen in a world so cruel and wild, a lost girl's cry for safety, a desperate lonely child. Rains washed away her laughter, left only storms within, a soul that found empowerment in the guilt and sin. Taught herself to conquer where once she felt too small, turned her wounds to armor, echoes in the hall. Oh, Altena, in the garden of your mind, you try to plant the seeds of fate, hoping to find a reason for the storms, the battles you have fought, a way to give the pain a meaning you have sought. Taught herself to conquer where once she felt too small, turned her wounds to armor, echoes in the hall. Oh, Altena, in the garden of your mind, you try to plant the seeds of fate, hoping to find a fight, a reason for the storms, the battles you have fought, a way to give the pain a meaning you have sought. If only she could see the dawn beyond the night, a place where love was pure and shadows held no fright. But trapped within her prophecy, she built a twisted plan, blind to the casualties, the soul she'd never understand. The Chloe she was mother, to Kira call, to follow her into darkness, a fate that would enthrall. Her heart both fierce and tender, a contradiction bold, hoping pain was power and courage in a world so cold. The echo of her laughter in hollow, empty halls, bound by chains unseen within the gilded walls. Oh, Altena, your garden slowly fades, the flowers of despair cast their endless shades. You never saw the sunlight when you stared into the night, the world that you imagined never brought the light.
Altena serves as the antagonist in the Japanese anime Noir, a series that regrettably falls short in developing her character into a fully fledged villain. Her story is ripe with potential, starring as a leader of a religious cult that significantly impacts her followers' lives, yet she appears all too briefly on screen. Her enigmatic past could have enriched the narrative by detailing how her childhood trauma led to her role within the Soldats, a secret society that brings young women into the shadowy world of assassination. This missed opportunity contrasts sharply with the development of Karika, another key character, who, despite a life engulfed in violence and turmoil, seeks to understand and take responsibility for her actions. Karika's journey against the backdrop of psychological abuse and an unrelenting hunt for her life offers a compelling study of resilience and morality under duress. Altena's character exploration reveals a personality imbued with manipulative tendencies and complex motivations. Her prophetic aura and potential clairvoyant abilities add depth to her character, as seen in pivotal moments like the final episode. Here, her connection to a well leading to a lava chamber, where winds animate her hair and dress as if responding to her inner vision, illustrates her ambiguous yet potent influence over events. This implies a higher calling or predestined role within the Soldats, potentially positioning her as a chosen high priestess, a role either forged or discovered, mirroring the fate of Noir's select candidates. The anime delves into Altena's traumatic past through a poignant flashback. Raised amidst the horrors of a war-torn nation, she is depicted as vulnerable and alone, emaciated and orphaned, before being abducted by a soldier. The scene is laden with chilling undertones, suggesting sexual assault, communicated through visual metaphors, a soldier's looming figure, and a glistening gun, evoking distressing imagery reminiscent of an invasion of a penis, ejaculating. In this moment, she voices a key line. If love can kill someone, surely hate can save, laying bare the skewed logic that shapes her later actions and philosophy. She believes that since love is considered a sexual act that killed her spirit, anything that resembles hate, like killing people, can surely save and create salvation, like having Noir become the grand return. This theme resonates deeply with individuals who have experienced trauma, as it mirrors the personal turmoil many endure. In my life, I was told that I was abused and neglected by my biological mother, and I remember my adopted father being very apathetic and also having a mentality of, adults have problems too. You need to forgive and move the hell on. When I was in first grade, I was abused by my camp counselors. They would throw dodgeballs at my head, and I remember bleeding one time. And I couldn't tell my parent about it because they were the type of people that would trash the house. If they ever got upsetting news, when I was in 5th grade, I came close to bringing a knife to school because of relentless bullying and physical assault. I grew up seeing a lot of domestic violence, including a time where my father threatened me with a vacuum cleaner. And I also grew up with my parents making fun of my mental health issues. One time saying Matt and Byron are stupid and they can't learn. I was sexually assaulted by my older brother in high school when I had a breakdown from a lot of traumatic experiences instead of seeing it as depression. My parents would tell psychologists that it is autism and I need to be put on medication. When I graduated college, I made peace with myself and I was the happiest ever been in my life. And then I worked at a job that was robbed by its own security guards, and I suffered from PTSD, severe workplace bullying and mental health discrimination, and struggled with suicidal thoughts for many years. When I shared that experience at the New Haven 48-hour film project event to say that inspired my movie, making the event runner responded with chuckling and sarcastic gasping sounds. And it was because they saw me as a black man and a mentally ill person sharing too much about myself and making a fool of myself. I worked at a college campus where I dealt with sexual harassment, almost being assaulted by a coworker and being manipulated by many people, and also people being homophobic because I had gay parents. It was also hard that when I was seeing a therapist, his mentality was that what I've been through is not traumatic enough, not to become another black man going to jail, and the best response to hardship is to work hard and be successful and ignore how people treat me. Eventually left my therapist because the mentality of when I hurt people it matters, but when people hurt me, it doesn't matter. And my therapist, his final words was that he lost all respect for me, and I'm no former victim. Rightfully, sincerely yours. My psyche was at times tempted toward a darker path, rationalizing negativity with thoughts like, bad people don't get punished, so why not become one? A notion dangerously close to Altena's warped belief that hate can bring salvation. Altena exemplifies the destructive potential of adopting skewed worldviews. Her upbringing of Karika and Chloe as assassins, believing this path aligns with divine redemption, culminates in tragedy. Chloe's death and Karika's enduring torment. Karika's arc reflects perpetual guilt, depression, and identity struggles, alongside amnesia, seeking purpose amidst chaos. The actions she undertakes under Altena's guidance lead to hundreds of deaths throughout the series, painting a picture of Altena as the high priestess endorsing a misguided creed that equates harmful behavior with spiritual fulfillment. Delving deeper into Altena's background, her existence within a war-torn environment and subsequent assault by the soldats suggests a life unnaturally orchestrated. The commentary here examines historical and cultural parallels wherein certain religious doctrines condone violence and violation under the guise of a higher purpose. This concept of predetermined fate, crafted by others' ideologies within spiritual narratives, can often segue into present-day struggles where dogma overshadows personal autonomy and ethics. Ancient texts such as the Epic of Gilgamesh further explore these themes, depicting religious rituals intertwined with exploitation. The infamous tale details interactions with a high priestess, initially cast as sacred but ultimately exposed as self-serving acts of power. Such stories draw parallels with Altena's narrative in Noir, suggesting her life was shaped by the soldats' manipulative rituals. The interlacing of these fictional and historical narratives emphasizes how Altena's life thread may have been woven by external forces, resulting in a complex character study of trauma, power, and moral ambiguity. Thus, Altena's role in Noir personifies a collision of trauma, manipulation, and coercion into a life of deeply flawed ideals. Her character uncovers the broader implications of unchecked religious zeal and its capacity to justify violence under the veil of spiritual destiny, offering profound reflection on the power of narratives interwoven throughout human history and literature. To delve into Altena's psychology, it's insightful to examine her relationships with the three main characters. Let's begin with her dynamic with Mireille, which is perhaps the easiest to unpack. Altena holds a certain disdain for Mireille compared to Chloe and Karika, partly because she was a caretaker of the latter two during their formative years. Having raised Chloe the longest, Altena perceives Mireille as her least favorite, almost an interloper. Moreover, Altena feels betrayed by Mirei's family, who oppose Mirei's initiation into Soldat's ideals, foreseeing the pain and danger that awaited her. In a retaliatory gesture, Altena handed Karika a weapon at a tragically young age, perhaps even before she turned 8, instructing her to make a formidable journey from the France-Spain border to Corsica, located in Italy. This mission was to assassinate Mirei's parents. Chloe was present to witness and admire Karika's prowess, setting off a chain of events that would lead to Mirei's deep-seated trauma and vengeful anger toward her parents' unknown killer, whose identity remained hidden until the show's conclusion. Through all this, it appears Altena sought Mirei's suffering as a means to parallel the challenges faced by Chloe and Karika. Her actions could spring from a sense of vindictiveness, or perhaps a belief in inescapable fate. Altena may rationalize that her fate included enduring sexual assault, then Chloe's destiny entwined with death by Karika's hand, and Karika's own trials entailed reckoning with such horrific deeds, including the murder of Mirei's family. Altena seems to believe that Mirei, too, must tread the painful path to become the world's preeminent assassin, grappling with heartbreak and misery alike. In essence, Altena might aim for Mirei's suffering and could harbor jealousy or judgment, deeming Mirei unworthy due to protection of her family, including her parents and uncle. This mindset mirrors real-world behavior, where individuals inflict pain on others, claiming a lack of equivalent suffering. It reminds me of my college years, dealing with racism, enduring my parents' mockery of my mental health struggles, facing disrespect from professors, and grappling with the unexpected decision to repurpose my senior art exhibition's plywood paintings as clubhouse floorboards. Those paintings held deep insight into my identity, reflecting the raw emotions and soul-searching journey that earned me scholarships and required juggling multiple part-time jobs. In response, my demeanor toward others became harsh and arrogant, a feedback loop of treating others with the same coldness I experienced from authority figures who, despite their intentions, left me feeling marginalized. This cycle of hurt, woven into generational trauma, captures a pattern where a lack of nurturance in one's upbringing often manifests in similar treatment of others upon adulthood. Altena's past assault partly frames her perspective on Mirei, someone she perceives as untried by suffering. With Karika's childhood task of killing Mirei's parents, Altena orchestrated a scenario meant to seal Mirei's fate as a prophet. In a twisted parallel to Altena's own rise to a high priestess within the Soldats, an ascension marked by trauma, Altena's relationship with Chloe is the most complex and intimate, resembling that of mother and child. Altena seems satisfied with the power dynamics between them, as Chloe adheres to her every command and is inspired by Karika, setting a clear hierarchical influence in their interactions. This dynamic is unsettling, especially in scenes like the one where Karika murders Mirei's mother. Chloe is left speechless, watching with almost admiring awe, her response disturbingly tinged with a sense of sadistic pleasure. For Chloe, this violent act becomes a source of inspiration, compelling her to look up to Karika as an older sister figure she wishes to emulate. Both girls' involvement in the assassination of Mirei's parents is a scheme crafted by Altena, who placed a gun in Karika's tiny hands, thereby orchestrating this tragic event. Altena carefully manipulates Chloe by positioning her to see Karika as a role model, feeding into Chloe's need for approval through their maternal-like bond. Despite foreseeing Chloe's death, Altena's reaction shows a mix of sadness and resignation at the inevitability of fate, reflecting her twisted pride in having manipulated Chloe throughout her life. This manipulation highlights Altena's villainous and sociopathic nature. A recurring theme with Altena is the concept of inescapable fate. She believes in destiny's power, even for those like Chloe, who are raised under manipulative conditions. The mother-daughter illusion bolsters their bond because Chloe submits to Altena, granting her the control she craves, an antidote to the powerlessness Altena experienced during her own traumatic childhood assault. She likely views this as a trial leading to her eventual role as the Soldat's high priestess. Chloe, through her submission and acceptance of destiny, as molded by Altena, is unique among the Noir candidates until realizing that the true prophets are Karika and Mirei, not her. This reveals much about Altena's psyche. She forms a close bond with Chloe as a means to exert power, an effect of her own unresolved trauma and the belief in preordained paths. Through Chloe's unwavering submission, Altena's thirst for control is quenched, underscoring her manipulative and emotionally detached character. Altena's relationship with Karika is indeed the most complex. While Altena sees herself reflected in Karika due to their parallel experiences of trauma, she also holds a specific vision for Karika that aligns with her twisted worldview. Karika's history is laden with significant trauma, being handed a gun by Altena to kill Mirei's parents, living a life in Japan where she later discovers her family was fabricated, and her existence as a sleeper agent. This concept refers to someone who lives a normal life until triggered to fulfill their role as an assassin. Such a trigger was Karika's amnesia, leading to her fugitive status and subsequent pact with Mirei, agreeing to be killed once her past was uncovered. It's clear that Altena sees Karika as a mirror of herself, both shaped by severe childhood traumas. Altena favors Karika, perhaps hoping she will grow as cold and ruthless as she become, adopting the notion that the world's inherent cruelty is a part of one's destiny. Toward the end of the series, Altena is pleased when Karika exhibits a hardened demeanor, which indicates to Altena that Karika is heading down a path similar to hers. However, when Karika regains her humanity upon remembering Mirei's mother, Altena is upset, as this indicates Karika's rejection of Altena's intended path for her. Altena seems to desire Karika to view the world through a lens of relentless hardship, where religious and prophetic beliefs justify the cruelty. Altena's hope is for Karika to embrace this distorted philosophy, that if love can destroy, then perhaps hate can redeem. She orchestrates situations where Karika's ultimate trial would lead to either her death or Altena's own demise, thereby reinforcing the cycle of trauma. The series' conclusion, where Altena meets her fate by being pushed into a lava pit, symbolizes both a literal and metaphorical sacrifice. Altena might view her death as preordained, fitting her perception that life follows a predetermined path shaped by trauma and duty. Altena's psyche is that of a trauma victim who has developed sociopathic tendencies. Her belief in destiny allows her to justify her actions, believing that every trial she orchestrates, every manipulation, is an element of a grand design. This convoluted view of religion ascribes meaning to the suffering she has endured and inflicted. In reality, prophecy and destiny are not absolute. People use religion sometimes as a coping mechanism for life's hurdles. Religion has a capacity to cultivate goodness or to foster harm, depending on the individual's interpretation. Altena's inability to critically assess her actions, rooted in her perceived religious destiny, causes only further trauma. It suggests that inflicting pain on others to validate one's own suffering is unjustifiable. Karika and Altena's contrasting psychologies highlight this divergence. While Karika ultimately finds a path back to her humanity, Altena remains mired in her fatalistic worldview. This serves as a poignant reminder of the potential paths one psyche might take in response to trauma, either breaking the cycle or perpetuating it through further harm. In conclusion, Altena's psychology is a complex tapestry woven from deep-seated trauma, distorted religious beliefs, and a sociopathic worldview. Her life's narrative is one of victimization that evolves into a cycle of manipulation and control, seeking to recreate her experiences of pain in others as a misguided means of understanding and mastery. Through her twisted lens, Altena desires to shape her protégés, particularly Chloe and Karika, to fit her vision of predestination and destiny, viewing their suffering and transformation as inevitable. Yet, her inability to see beyond this narrowly defined construct not only perpetuates the trauma she once endured, but also propels those around her into the darkness she believes defines the human experience. By examining Altena's character, we are reminded that while trauma can ravage the human spirit, it is how we choose to interpret and deal with our experiences that ultimately defines our path in life. Without introspection and empathy, the cycle of pain continues unbroken, as evidenced by Altena's tragic and destructive life trajectory.